Hello lovers of the world, this is Sinta speaking. Welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. It's just been a long time, but let's just get into this video. Apologies for the weird sound that you might hear. I am recording this at 1 a.m. and I think my neighbors are having a party, but I didn't really want to put this off any longer considering that it's already 1 month late, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, so as a way of keeping track of all the new music I've listened to this month, here's a summary of what I listened to. I feel like I listened to a lot of new music, but this month at least, but most of them didn't actually leave an impact on me. The first half of October was a bit of a struggle to find serotonin. I either got tired of everything I liked easily or I didn't like the album in the first place. It wasn't until the second half of October when things finally started to get interesting. We had some cool comebacks and some disappointing ones. So buckle up and let's get into it. This is what I listened to in October. Here's a little note. All the albums I talk about here were released in 2020 unless I specifically say otherwise. Now, this video is split into 4 sections. The first section I guess I've called / labeled Indifference. So this section I want to talk about the releases that I don't really have much of an opinion on or have anything to say about. So these include Lonely Diamond by Ocean Alley, Lyrcist by Heize, Tiger Eyes by Seojung, Song for Our Daughter by Laura Marling, and Semicolon by 17. Now, I didn't think that these were bad per se. I was just really indifferent to them. I wasn't impressed by them, and yeah, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into albums that I actually have things to say about. So, moving on to the next section, I call Intrigued. These are some albums that I have a bit more to say on, basically, or they've intrigued me. So, Echo by Chara and Yuki. So this was an interesting album. I didn't like their voices at first, but I found I grew to like them eventually. This project contained a pretty eclectic collection of genres. I'm not really equipped to talk about it in length. However, my favorite song is track 4, and I don't know how to say that in Japanese. Morningside by Fazerdaze, and this was released in 2017. I really like this album. I like all the songs here, and this was one of those times where if I had the chance, I would love to get my hands on a physical copy. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I think I've probably listened to Jennifer the most. Identity, First Sight by WeI. So this is the debut EP of WeI, the boy group made up of members from I think 2 other groups, IDK. I'm bad at keeping up with these things. I think Twilight is a great title track. I love chill, cute boy group songs anyway, and this was produced by Hui from Pentagon, so I was happy that he was getting that coin, baby. The rest of the songs are up to the K-pop standards of good. They are polished, clean, and undeniably bland, and none of them stood out or had the longevity for me. However, it does display a great amount of potential, and hopefully WeI continues to release good music. Although I was concerned that I felt like they didn't really have a personality per se, they just felt like an average as K-pop boy group. They didn't even have like a thing, you know, like Dreamcatcher does their rock, but we'll see in the future. Alright, moving on to a group that probably does have a personality. 17's first comeback was Heng. Now, I definitely like this more than Semicolon, which was their second comeback of 2020. This is infinitely better, and I think the first project that they've released after they've been assimilated into Big Hit Entertainment. So around this time, they had the same resources as, I guess, all the other groups under Big Hit do, like TXT and BTS even. But I like that this more or less still sounds like them. Like, not really much has changed, but I mean, of course, I wouldn't really know. I don't really keep up with them, but as far as I can tell, they didn't really do any major changes, which I like. I like that, you know, not much is, I mean, we'll talk about G-Friend some other time. But anyway, so what I like about this EP is that I noticed that unlike their peers who focus more on rapping, 17 is actually really interested in how to focus on the vocal performances of their members. It shows off the talents really, really well, this EP. And I noticed that 17 showcases the vocal talents exquisitely, including the rappers. Even decisions like not trying to make the rappers, who are of course weaker in singing vocal performance at least, high notes. They don't sound like they're straining themselves, and they're giving them parts that actually suit their voice tone and technique range. All of that makes a difference, and I guess that probably comes with the territory of being able to produce your own music, because 17, since their humble beginnings, they've always been the self-producing idol, quote unquote. So I guess they have more control in how they as people want to showcase themselves to. And I just think it's really interesting, because I feel like a lot of boy group, I guess girl group rappers in general in K-pop, they probably all can sing to some extent, but we just never hear them as much compared to all the other, I guess, technically better vocalists. But it's just nice to hear them every now and then. Anyway, my favorite song from Heng is Together. I think it's the best song, and it's probably one of my favorite releases of the year. Yeah. So, moving on, You'll Be Fine by Hot Mulligan. Now, I think I found this by accident because I was trying to find I wanted to listen to some like punk or rock emo type music, and I had to, of course, listen to like a 2020 release, and I found this. I've never heard of the band before, but I do really like this. It's one of those projects that I just like to have in the background while I work and not really process it too deeply. It's very emotive. I love the guy's vocal performance. It's pretty cool. And I guess I'm just generally inclined to like Midwest emo rock genre types anyway. So it was inevitable that I would like this. Okay, moving on. Blessed by EXID. Now, this only really had 3 new songs, and the rest of the album are just Japanese versions of their previous songs from literally like if you look through it, it's like it spans like basically most of their career. Anyway, so I wasn't sure if I could count this as a quote-unquote new album that I listened to, but these new songs I felt were worth talking about. So Bad For You was okay, Official is good, but Blessed is excellent. Blessed is an excellent example of the wonders and benefits of K-pop's tendency to bend and mix genres to their whim. The horn section in the beginning is incredible, and the drum and bass influences are beautiful. I really like the song, and I'm glad that EXID released this even after their departure from banana culture. I think it's because a different company handles their Japanese activities, so that's how this came to be, even though they've technically disbanded. I assume that since most of them have left banana culture, there won't be any EXID activities in the future, so I'm just glad that this was they left off on such a strong note, if you don't count their Korean EP. Moving on to New Rules by Weki. So the title track Cool, I actually really liked. It's an interesting switch in concept. Oopsie was their last comeback, and I thought it was a very typical Weki song. It was well done, but it contained the Weki vibe, so I like that. I like groups that have personalities that they can stick to. But Cool is really good in that it's definitely them experimenting a little bit more with different concepts and different genres. However, I do wish I could say I enjoyed the rest of this EP in the same way that I enjoyed the title track, because unfortunately Cool was the only song I actually only enjoyed from this project. I don't even like 100 Facts, which is literally the same song but with English lyrics. I don't really know how to feel about this trend of automatically including an English version of the title track in the album. I know that it's like a pretty old thing in K-pop, but like it just feels way too pandering, too much of pandering for me. I had did a quick Google search, and I showed that the person who wrote the English lyrics helped produce the music, so her name was also in the producing credits of Cool. So I'm gonna assume that they literally just used the original English demo as their English version. I just think it's pretty lazy, and I don't know, not vibing with it. I kind of want to do like a video essay in the future about the producers of K-pop. You get people from overseas to produce the music, and you get Korean lyricists to replace all those English lyrics with Korean lyrics, and I really want to explore that. Maybe I'll do that for my PhD or some shit. Moving on. Okay, Chilling at Home by Sukisha. Okay, I found this also again by accident. I think it was when I was stalking my friends on Spotify. I do that a lot, and one of them was listening to this artist. I think that's how I found him. But yeah, so I discovered this guy, and this is his latest. I think it's his latest album, which I thought was really fun, and it was really nice. Just like the title says, this album is great to have when you're just chilling at home. Although I'm not really a fan of this trend/gimmick of adding random instrumental tracks in between the quote-unquote real songs, at best I find them unnecessary, and at worst I find that they decrease the quality of my experience when I'm listening to the project. I'm sure the musicians have reasons for doing something like this, but as a listener, it's just not as fun, especially because, like, I don't know. Regardless, I just end up skipping the instrumentals. Like, the 1975 did it in their latest album, and Day6 did it in their latest album. I don't know, just not a fan of it. Moving on. Dystopia, Love Yourself by Dreamcatcher. Okay, well, look, this was they've had better songs. Here's the thing, they had a really good album released way earlier this year, so it's pretty hard to beat that. This EP is weak, just weak. It was really forgettable, except for one song, and one song only. Break the Wall is phenomenal, and it's probably gonna be in my year-end list, which I need to do a video on too. Ugh. Anyway, great song, great song, great song. Great song, weak album, but great song. Okay, 12 O'Clock by Loona. 12 O'Clock by Loona. So, I didn't like Why Not in my first listen. In fact, I was pretty disappointed by it. I felt like it was a very poorly executed version of So What. But over time, I've come to not only appreciate Why Not and see it as separate from So What, I also just genuinely like it. I think it's catchy, and it's creative, and it's fun. I like it. Is it their best title track? Absolutely not. Is it an upgrade from So What? Absolutely not either. Am I satisfied with it? Not really, because I know they could do better than this. This is unfortunately a regression from their last EP. Hashtag had less songs, but the whole project was more coherent and true to Loona's original musical personality, which I'm super scared that they're going to lose once Lee Suman, who used to be the CEO of SM Entertainment, the more he gets his grubby little hands on them, I feel like they're slowly losing their, like, what do you call it? Their personality that they had in the beginning. Because you can kind of, I guess if you look at it, like, their debut EP had the strongest, like, Loona sound ever. But then hashtag and this, it's like, you can tell it's like slowly decreasing, and I don't like that. Don't like it. Don't ruin one of my favorite groups. Don't do it. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next section. This section I call In-Depth, and includes what are essentially short reviews. They're too short to be standalone videos, but they are extremely long, so I put them towards the end. First, The Book of Us Gluon by Day6 Even of Day. So this is the one where Seojung and Jae have to have their mental health break, and that is totally okay. We are proud that they are taking that step, and we are, I guess, grateful that JYP let them have a break. So now I think it's just the 3 members. I really like this EP. They're really giving me those synthwave, synth rock, synth pop realness. I think it's very, very beautiful. But for the sake of my sanity, I'm only going to talk about the tracks Landed, Where the Sea Sleeps, and Thanks To, because like I said earlier, this EP is basically half random instrumentals. And the thing is, the instrumentals are like the length of them is like 3 minutes long, so you think it's a real song, and then you look and it's like, what the sorry, me complaining. But anyway, I actually really do like these songs. I think they're really good. Landed is very peppy and belongs right next to all the synth pop rock hits from the 80s, like We Built This City by Starship and Take On Me by a-ha. There's just something very joyous about them, and I haven't looked at the lyrics, but I don't know, it's really cool and I like it. Where the Sea Sleeps is sad. It's just sad. It's a soulful, sweet ballad that's heavily contrasted with these really overpowering drum kits, and I like the vocal I always like the vocal performances of Day 6. I think they chose the right title track considering that the two members have decided to take the break, so because it's about like staying with you and being together and stuff like that. And you guys, you have to see the music video. It's so like, oh, so cute. Okay, moving on. My favorite is actually Thanks To. To me, it just hits all the right spots. The gated reverb and a down tempo vibe is totally my style. However, they're all really good. They're all like these three songs are pretty good. I guess my only complaint is that like I wish it was like, I guess, longer, like the project, and it didn't have the instrumentals. I mean, I speculate that they probably didn't have as much time to write more songs considering that they only had the three members working on this comeback, but that's my theory. Moving on. Little Society by Promisenine. This was a really nice project and very satisfying for someone who has waited for Promisenine's comeback since last year. Feel Good is, just like the title, great at making you feel good. This is one of their better title tracks, although considering that they've only had 5 promotional singles, that doesn't really mean much, but I would put this quite up there in their discography. Weather is my favorite track of the EP. I might put it in my freaking year-end list too. And then I don't really vibe that well with Starry Night and Somebody to Love. Not only are they not as charismatic as the 2 previous tracks, like Weather and Feel Good were super high energy, and then these 2 were just kind of like super mellow. They also are not that interesting because I feel like they just sound like good, polished, and super basic and bland. But at least the EP ends on a strong note with Mulgogi. Overall, I recommend this as it's definitely a highlight in their repertoire. Twilight by Sungwoon. This is basically like a track by track description. Lazy Lovers have great verses, but the chorus irritates me for some reason. And the same can be said for Get Ready. The verses are good, but I also really dislike the chorus. Things start looking up with Puzzle. It's clean and polished in the way that all K-pop songs are, and it's only moderately bland. Miraculously, this is the first time the chorus doesn't irritate me. In fact, I like it. So far, so good. But then track 4 is where the EP really reaches its peak. Lie is undeniably the best song of the EP, and bruh, it's so good. This homage to early 2000s pop rock is a wonderful reprieve from the previous comparatively lackluster tracks. It has emotion, it showcases Sungwoon's vocal talents the best, and has the best use of musical storytelling with the ascending high notes. The regression to safe pop music in the last track is almost a disappointment after a song like Lie, but Curious and Twinkle are still decently made. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with this project. Okay, moving on. Dawndididawn by Dawn. This is Dawn's debut EP. At first, I didn't like the title track, Dawndididawn, but actually grew on me really, really quickly. I'm not typically fond of songs that aren't melodic in nature, but the musicality is quite rhythmic and fun. I'm a bit disappointed since Dawn's debut song Money was incredible. Great songwriting, and it was produced incredibly well. So I was hoping that his next song would be similar in quality, similar in how he tries to address, like, I guess, deeper themes in the way that Money did. Nonetheless, I can appreciate Dawn's expression of bravado and creativity in this track. Still is more of a Crush song than it is a Dawn song, if that makes sense. It doesn't even sound like one of Crush's better songs. Very basic and very average, and I don't know. Dawn doesn't actually have a very conventionally pretty singing voice since he's typically a rapper anyway, but I really do love the contrast between their voices. Dawn's grungy, rough voice works pretty well juxtaposed with Crush's smoother, polished vocals. And I don't know, I feel like a combination like that deserved a better produced song. I don't like Tantara and I don't like Butterfly. I didn't like Ordinary Night either, but I want to bring up something in regards to it. When I analyze music, I tend to have the habit of comparing people to other people. I've been trying to lessen that because I've been trying to hone my skills at articulating what I mean, and comparisons can be disrespectful to both parties. That being said, sometimes I think that Dawn's vocal tone is reminiscent of G-Dragon's, and I had a friend who listened to this song and backed me up, so this song is an excellent example of their similarities. I don't doubt that many rappers, and to an extent singers even, of K-pop today were heavily influenced and inspired by G-Dragon. But this is one of the more obvious instances of G-Dragon's impact in contemporary K-pop. In conclusion, this EP was pretty disappointing. I was hoping for better. And I know I can get better. Dawn is a great singer-songwriter. Anyway, Homecoming by Kyla Massie. Okay, not gonna lie, I didn't actually have a lot of expectations for the quality of this. I really loved Pristin, but I kind of stopped following them after they disbanded to save myself the heartache. So I haven't kept up with the individual members as well. But I gotta say, I really like this EP. Her songwriting skills are underdeveloped in my opinion, but there is so much talent and potential in there at the age of 18 years old. There's self-reflection, honesty, and maturity jam-packed into this short 16-minute long project. The lyrics and the subject matter are a little Disney Channel vibe, but I enjoyed it a lot. There's a promising use of different genres that are molded into pop-friendly formats. Now, I shouldn't be so surprised that the level of her songwriting skills is like this, considering that she had writing and producing credits in the last two EPs that Pristin managed to actually get out before they were killed. However, I think it's depressing to think that Kyla had so much to offer to the world as a Pristin member, but B.L.E.S.S.E.D would much rather shoot their own foot than to actually promote and market the group. Whatever. As Kyla makes it explicitly clear, she has moved on and is focusing on a new chapter in her life. In a way, I am glad that by her departure from the company, she has more freedom and allowance to actually write what she wants to write, rather than possibly having to conform to what an idol company wants her to write and produce. Not to mention, she can showcase not just her rapping abilities, but her vocal talents as well. Looking forward to more projects. Follow her on Instagram and YouTube. My favorite track is probably Away. I think that's the most interesting one, but I quite like all of them, TBH. They're all quite enjoyable. Cool. Okay. Final section. This is the home stretch, homies. The following albums that I list off are already drafted out as standalone reviews. I plan on releasing the full review sometime in the future. Hopefully soon, because 2020 is ending. But I've been so busy and so lazy at the same time. Moving on. The album by Blackpink. Can I just say that's an ugly ass. I know they were trying to be like funny with it, but they couldn't have picked like a nicer title than just The Album by Blackpink, because I feel like it implies that they're never gonna release another album for a while. I'm warning you now that I might not be very kind to them in my upcoming album review, so if you are easily annoyed at people disliking Blackpink, I do not recommend watching that. I have very strong opinions regarding Blackpink, but I also feel like I want to be as honest as I can, and I don't want to like mince words just because I do like. Here's the thing: I do actually like this group, but I just don't want to mince words because I like them. I think if you want to hear my thoughts about it, because I do actually like some songs in here, give it a listen. I have a big problem with the project as a whole, so you'll just have to find out more about it in the future. Nectar by Joji. In my first listen to this album, I got halfway through and then I opened the Google document to draft out my thoughts. So just wait for that when it comes out. Overall, this is definitely more memorable than Joji's last release, B.L.E.S.S.E.D, back in 2018. I recommend you give it a listen. Minisode Blue Hour by Tomorrow by Together. So I planned to finish the series on the Dream Chapter trilogy before this came out, but I got bulldozed over by school. Regardless, I need to finish analyzing the Dream Chapter trilogy first before I tackle this next phase of the EXID's evolution. I will say that this is one of my favorite releases of the year. I love Blue Hour. I swear to God, the first few times I listened to the song, I felt like all the serotonin I missed out in 2020 just decided to bulldoze me in one. It's so good. It's pretty depressing, but listening to the song for the first time was the happiest I've ever been since the year started. Holy shit. NCT Resonance by NCT. Okay, basically I expected more from this album considering that the previous project, Neozone, is in my favorite albums of the year list. The singles that they released from this was also really promising, so I really had expectations all the way up. From Home and Make-A-Wish are definitely one of the highlights of the year. I really like both songs. So to me, the album was unfortunately a letdown. Out of the 13 tracks, I think I only liked 4, including the singles, but whatever. Eyes Wide Open by Twice. This was great. I actually don't know. I actually liked it, I think, more the first time I listened to it, but now that I go back, I'm like, I don't know. So I think I'll need to listen to it a bit more times to figure out and then write about it. Okay, as you can tell, I feel like I'm getting delirious. My mouth stopped working and my throat is dry. So we're gonna end here. That's what I listened to this month. Apologies, I know it's literally December, but I had to focus on my final exams and I had like something going on every day with my friends or family. I had to put the YouTube channel on the back burner for a long time. However, I'm back now and I have a lot of stuff to release. So please subscribe and accompany me as I try to stick to a regular weekly schedule again. I don't know how I did it the first time, but if I did it once, I can do it again. Anyway, see you soon. Oh, all the albums that I've talked about in this video, I will link in the description so you guys can listen to it and form your own opinions, because I believe that is important. Alright, stay safe, wear a mask, stay safe, wash your hands, hand sanitizer, wear a mask, wear a mask, and bye.